Good morning! Welcome back to the channel. As you see, I'm in my attire, I'm in my shop, and I am at the new table saw. I'm going to show you how to calibrate it. You saw the fence and a simple little jig that I made for my dial indicator to run along the fence. So we're gonna go through, I'm gonna discuss some of the things that I found. This fence will probably end up getting upgraded, but for now, this is for people that don't have the money or don't wanna upgrade the fence, or if it's good enough or whatever. So like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, all that fun stuff. There's gonna be a lot more stuff on this table saw, but this is the first time I was able to get into the shop and actually do some stuff. So I'm gonna go through that. In another video, I'm gonna show you how to make a zero clearance insert. I made two, one for my regular blade and one for my dado stack. And yeah, so I'm gonna start getting into it, and let's go. So the first thing that I would do, instead of, they tell you to use combination squares and machinist squares and all this to align your table saw. But if you really want to dial it in, you get a dial indicator. And these are pretty cheap. These dial indicators you can probably pick up for brand new 40 bucks, maybe 30 bucks, I don't know. I've had this one forever. This is part of my machining stuff. And all I did was I made a little sled for it. It's pretty simple. 2 pieces of wood, a little slot for the thing, and then just a couple screws to hold it in. Works perfect. The key is to make sure that this slot is the same size as your miter slot. No wiggle. No wiggle. So once you get that, and it's running good, like this is running pretty good, then you can, everything will go off your miter slot. So you line your blade, you line your fence, you check for run out, you check for your riving knife alignment and stuff like that. So this is pretty simple. This is pretty self-explanatory just by looking at it, how to make it. So I shouldn't have to tell you how to make it. It's pretty simple. So we're gonna keep going. So another thing I came across with this saw, and that's pretty much the reason why it's the price that it's at. Here I got it for 578 Canadian. So I don't know what that converts to US, but you can tell that it's made in China. So when I was trying to adjust my fence, I came across an area where I'm like, okay, I have this, it's a good measurement, blah, blah, blah. Try to tighten it down and whoop, cheap Chinese screws. So that's the first thing I did. I went through my screw collection and I changed all 4 of these screws for the fence. Now I can actually torque it down, and hopefully that it'll stay true. Another problem I found with the fence is that it is not straight. There is approximately a 10th thou bow in the fence itself. So you can go 0 to 0 on either end, 10th thou sticks out. Like, really? Now, to get you an idea of what 10 thousandths is pretty much 2.5 sheets of paper. So a regular sheet of paper, normal paper, is 4 thou thick. And for 10 thou, it's, as you guess, 2.5 sheets. But that's enough in some projects that it might give you some problems. Maybe some binding issues. It wouldn't be so bad if it was the other way, but it's bowed toward the blade. If it was bowed out of the blade, I probably wouldn't have much of an issue with it. So if you ever go through the instructions of this, there are a few different things that they tell you to do. One, with the riving knife, is to make sure that it is square with the blade. And there are a couple set screws and screws that will make this align. This was pretty good out of the box. There was not much I needed. With the blade itself, I have, what is it running at? I think I have it running within 3 thou. From side to side, I think I have it to around 3 thou, which I'm totally great with now. I had to readjust, and all it is, and I'll show you, all it is 2 bolts for your trundle. There's one right here, one right here, and if it's not too bad out, you just kind of knock each side and you play with it until you get it to where you want it. And that's pretty much how I did it. It's pretty much how I did it. And like I said, it was, what was it running out? It was running out 15 thou. So start of the blade 0, back of the blade was 15 thou out. So a little bit of playing and I got it within 3. I'm happy with 3. The fence is another issue. So I have it clamped. It's loose right now. I have it clamped down. I have it running where I want. I'm gonna screw it, bolt it all down with the 4 bolts and pray that when I hit the cam lock that it doesn't go wacky. That's what I'm hoping for. But I think I'm gonna end up upgrading the fence. This is not what I thought it would be. So, onward. Okay, so after a bit of fiddling around and screwing around with it and all that fun stuff, I've finally come to something that actually works. And I don't know how long it's gonna stay true, but right now it's true. So all I do is I clamp it down, then I clamp the ends down, and then if this thing's like way out of whack, loosen all your 4 bolts, straighten it out with your dial indicator, tighten it back down, try it a couple times and see what happens. It worked for me. It took a little bit of finagling, but I finally got it to work. So yeah. So another thing to check for is to check to see how true this is running. And you can see the dial indicator. So as I'm spinning the blade, it's only running out 2 thou max. So I'm happy with that. So we're good with this. That's done. Now the only other thing that I would suggest to do is to check to see if your riving knife lines up with your saw blade. So you just stick a straight edge, nice straight edge to it, and you make sure you're not on a tooth, number 1. You make sure that there's no gaps along this edge. And this looks pretty good. Yep. And of course you always gotta check to see if your blade is actually square to your table. And same with your fence. Yep, we're good there. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Just try to square everything up. I showed you the adjustment screws. Oh, one more thing I did not show you is this. So you have 2 screws in the top of your table. These 2 screws control the 45. So if your 45 is, if you turn your blade and it goes to 45 and you measure it and it's not at 45, you loosen one of these screws, whichever way it has to go, and you move it so that way your indicator on that lines up with the degrees on this. That would be the last thing to do. So that would be the last thing to do on that, and that's pretty much it for this saw. Like I said, I'm going to be upgrading the fence. I'm not happy with what I had to do to get this to straighten out, and who knows how long it's gonna last. I will be checking every time I do a cut, just to make sure that I'm not out to lunch, because one of the projects I'm gonna start tackling is making the, I have the vise for it. I wanna put an end vise on my bench. It's a twin turbo vise, but I need to do some things first before, and that requires some accuracy on the table saw. So there you have. So that's it in a nutshell. Not much else I can tell you about this. I am going to do a video on this, on making these suckers. And that's pretty much it. So you like it, give me a thumbs up, shoot me a comment, say whatever. I don't know, I'd just like to hear from people. And I'm hoping you enjoyed it. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.